Greater Memphis Media. TSD TV, Tri-State Defender.
You understand how important it is. You know, I watch a lot of stuff on Deion Sanders, and he's so motivating on
a complete and total failure of leadership from the federal government.
If anyone asks how it's going in the black community, you tell them we're rising. And the revolution will be televised. Welcome to the Brian Clay Chronicles. I am your host, Brian Clay, and we have a wonderful, wonderful treat today. We have my man, Mayor Paul Young. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man.
You're looking well, man.
You're looking good, man. I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you coming to the Brian Clay Chronicles. We're going to have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of things to discuss. You've had a very interesting meeting of late, amongst other things, right?
Yeah. We've been busy. 2 months in, and we're hitting the ground running. I'm excited about the city, and looking forward to really changing the energy in our community right now.
We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break. We're going to go to Preserver Partners, which is one of our sponsors, and we thank you for being at the Brian Clay Chronicles. Pow. Mayor,
Yes.
you had a meeting recently
Yep.
with Memphis's gang leaders. A lot came from that meeting, requests from those gang leaders. Let's talk about why that meeting occurred and what came from it.
Yeah. So first, let me just give a little bit of context to it because
Yes.
I don't want people to think that I think I met with all of the major gang leaders in the city. Because I know that that's not the case. There are hundreds of gangs. I worked with a couple of the nonprofits that we work with, Hill 901, 901 Block Squad. We have a group called GVIP, Gang Violence Intervention Program, that's under the city. And I asked them, all three organizations, get me the highest ranking gang members that you can get in the room. And I asked them that because
Do they work with?
yeah, that's what they do. They work with individuals that are within gangs because their whole job and the reason that we work with them is to try to interrupt the cycle of violence that we see in our community. So when somebody gets shot or a shooting takes place, they go out and they work within their community to figure out who was the shooter, what we can do to prevent retaliation. And so I asked them, go out and get some individuals in the room so that I can have a direct discussion. Because I believe that it's really important as a leader that we have a dialogue with the subjects of our conversation. We can't keep talking about the people and not engage them in the dialogue. And so they got them in the room. I asked them, there were about 14 individuals. I asked them, what would it take for us to get a 7-day ceasefire in our community? And they were all willing to do it. And they said a couple of things. They said that they would be willing to do it, but we need to see their enemies do the same, which is logical. They're saying we can't put our guns down if they don't. And then the conversation really kind of shifted towards what it would take to turn the corner in our community. And they talked about the fact that the young guys, the little homies as they called them, the young guys, they're bored. They don't have enough activity. They don't have enough things to do. So they said, well, stealing cars is fun. So,
I was going to ask, is it, to use your words, the little homies that are breaking in these Kias and
no question. Yeah.
Sorrentos and all of these cars? Are they actually members of those particular gangs?
Obviously, the ones that they were talking about. I don't think that's all of what we're seeing in the streets, but some of it. And their point was that if their young people had more engagement, more things to do to keep them occupied, they wouldn't simply go steal a car for fun to joyride. They want to see more jobs, ways for young people to make money, because it's easy for them to sell dope or do the things that they can do to make money. And they were saying that we need to find ways for them.
Let me ask you a question. This may be, God, I can't believe I'm admitting this, but this may be a generational gap on my part. When I was coming up, or many of us that are sitting with us today coming up, I mean, we worked at Ryan's Steakhouse, Piggly Wiggly, Kroger, or what have you. You know, why won't they take those opportunities? I mean, it's very possible we're going to be moving up in the minimum wage or what have you. Are they interested in those jobs? Are they willing to take those steps to move up and gain skills or what have you?
I think that's the next level of the conversation. I didn't really penetrate, their thoughts when they were saying those. But what I also know and understand is that for some individuals, some young people, you only know what you see. And if what you see around you are, is a pathway that continues the cycle of poverty, and another pathway where you see someone who looks cool, who got the prettiest girl, drive the freshest car, and they got it doing it a certain way, it's the path of least resistance.
Right.
Because the other thing that they said in my conversation that I thought was just enlightening, they said, and it kind of took me aback, he said, man, you don't understand how much power you have. And he was telling me that. And he said, the fact that you're willing to even sit down with us, like the guys in my hood, they've never seen the mayor before. They've never sat down and talked to the mayor. If you went to them directly and told them what you're telling us, give them the vision for the community, you might get some different results.
How did you feel after that?
Well, I mean, I think I felt the weight of the responsibility, but I also felt like, yes, I'm the mayor, but we have so many people that are doing amazing things in our city and our community. So I felt it as a call to action to say, yes, I have to go out there, but all of us need to get out there. There are so many people doing well, and we go to our homes with our garages and we set the garage and we stay in there and we post on social media about how bad these kids are. These kids can't be what they can't see. And if we are out there showing them a different path, then that changes the whole future of our city.
Let me ask you a question. Recently, obviously, there was the C.J. Davis controversy that led her to being in an interim police commissioner status. My question to you is, now that you've reached out in this manner, and in this importance actually, do you see our police commissioner and our other leaders, even fire commissioner, going to those neighborhoods that you went to or those organizations that you went to and engaging in the same way.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, Chief Davis was supposed to be with me, but we just had a scheduling conflict. And so the next time that I do it, she definitely will be there.
Right.
You know, our whole administration is going to stay engaged. Like, we're locked in right now.
I hear you.
And I'm just so focused on making sure that we take Memphis to the next level. And I hear the detractors, I see the comments on social media, but we have a bigger goal. Like, our goal, it's not about me, and I said this the whole campaign. I'm not running because I want glory for my name. I want glory for our city. Like, our city is a great place, and I feel like we just haven't gotten our due yet, and it's time for us to turn the corner. And I want us to look back at this moment and say, this is when it happened.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, can we talk about blight and economic development, which is right up your alley, right?
Yeah, all of it, yeah.
You're watching the Brian Clay Chronicles. We have our mayor, Paul Young, with us today, and we'll be right back right after this. Pow.
The day our son was diagnosed with cancer, we didn't know what to do.
You know, you have the really nice people and you have a really nice place, but then you have that one big struggle that you're going through. So.
The question we're always wondering about is, what if it comes back, or what if she has complications from her therapy as she gets older?
Should we really be considering this clinical trial? Is it really going to help him?
When the doctor was telling me I had cancer, I didn't know how to act in front of my mom. I didn't know how to handle this news.
When it comes to pediatric cancer, there are always more questions than answers. We can face pediatric cancer together.
Hi, Jim Downey. Hi, good to meet you. Hi, Jim. So Savannah, how old are you again?
I'm 6.
6 years old. So first,
as a parent who has just been given the news that your child has cancer, we see the Together site as an important tool that will help you through the journey that you face. When you go home with that diagnosis of cancer, then you're facing the decisions that are going to alter your child's life and your life. Why can't there be a site, an authoritative site that gives you everything you need to make the right decisions?
From diagnosis to finishing treatment to the next steps to long-term follow-up, information for you, information for you, information for you.
Your questions go beyond treatments and trials. Together, we'll offer resources and support for your day-to-day life.
As the father of a pediatric cancer patient, I know that when you or someone you love is facing cancer, you find strength and information and hope. That's what this website, this resource, this community called Together is all about.
We are back on the Brian Clay Chronicles. We're having a very interesting and focused conversation with our Mayor, Paul Young. And Mayor Young, one of the things that I learned at the greatest alma mater in the world, and I know you went to UT, but Lemoyne-Owen is the greatest school ever, and we all know that. But one of the things I learned there was when I was taking philosophy, is what Plato said, and he said, when there is poverty, chaos ensues. We have urban blight in areas, Fraser. You were in Whitehaven yesterday, and Whitehaven has obviously been one of our stellar neighborhoods, but it has its issues as well. Hyde Park, Hollywood, we can go on. What is the young plan in regards to creating wealth, number one, and number two, getting these neighborhoods up to snuff?
Yeah, so when it comes to creating wealth, I like to tout the fact that Memphis is the largest majority black city in the nation.
Wow.
Per capita, we're the largest one in the nation.
More than Detroit,
more than Detroit,
Atlanta.
more than Atlanta, all of them.
Okay.
And so what I have told people is that I want that to be a badge of honor.
Right.
I want people to think about Memphis when you think about black wealth, black entrepreneurs. And in order to do that, obviously we have to grow more black businesses.
Right.
We need them to do more business with the city. Sure, that's great, and we're going to do that. But we also need the private sector to own the responsibility of investing in black businesses. And we've been talking about this for 20 years, so I'm not saying anything that is new. What I'm trying to do is get us to understand that unless we change the economics, it's going to be really, really hard to change the outcomes that we're seeing play out in our community. Because what we're seeing are the outcomes of poverty.
Right.
And so we want to make sure that the whole community, while we're all galvanized around how are we going to reverse this tide, the business sector is investing and making requests to the state on how we're going to get dollars for infrastructure, for security and things of that nature. The real issue, the real thing that we can do to change it is do business with black companies in this city. And I think that being preached from my bully pulpit is something that we're going to continue to do, and we're going to show and prove. Now, when it comes to blight, we want to make investments in our core city neighborhoods. And always, when I was previously the Downtown Memphis Commission, what I would tell people is that downtown is the living room of our whole region. It's the billboard. It's the billboard. It's the thing that people see. If you're coming to Memphis, you're going to think of downtown. If you're watching TV, you're going to see that downtown skyline. That's our billboard. The same premise applies for a neighborhood. If you're thinking about Orange Mound, it's Park Avenue. If you're thinking about Whitehaven, it's Elvis Presley. If you're thinking about Hickory Hill, it's the intersection of Winchester and Hickory Hill. And so the way that we change those communities is by making investments in what I call the anchors. Those are all the anchors in those communities. Because when you make the investments in those areas, it's the most visible place. When you make an investment at that intersection of Winchester and Hickory Hill, people that are driving by are going to say, it's something happening in Hickory Hill. Let me drive around this next corner and see what's available over here. It's the same premise when we started making investments in Raleigh with the Raleigh Town Center. Now you see Bojangles, Chick-fil-A, a bank, and Starbucks. All these places are locating there, and the next step is to bring more residential. What I'm also looking to do is get more quality housing in our core city neighborhoods, not just affordable housing. I want affordable housing, but we want market rate housing. We want the same amenities that you can get in Germantown, in Collierville, in Cordova, in the heart of the city. Because in order for our neighborhoods to grow, you need affordable housing and market rate housing.
So, like, in areas, and I'm just going to pick on Hyde Park and Douglas, what do you plan on doing? You plan on flattening those particular communities and raising them back up? Or
definitely not flattening. I mean, I think it's important to keep the bones of a community. So you want to build around it and have infill development. You want to get those vacant structures activated, at least the ones that can be saved. And you want to fill in around it with different types of development. We always think about single family homes when we think about developing housing, or we think big multifamily, but there's a middle ground. There's you know, quads where you have 4-unit housing. You see a lot of them in Midtown where you have these large, what look like big houses, but it's 4 units and apartments. And I want to see those types of developments move into other parts of the city. And so the types of development that we do in each area has to be congruent with what you would want to see in that neighborhood. But my point is that it has to be a diverse range and different price points in order to bring more population to the heart of the city.
And that, I guess that coincides with the wealth building piece, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's wealth building, and it's bringing more social capital to neighborhoods. When you think about what social capital is, many people get their job because of who they know. It's because you called your old neighbor who now works at FedEx and was able to get you on. In many of our communities, what happened over the years was the people with means. It wasn't just white flight. I want us as black folk to feel convicted too, myself. It wasn't just white flight that left the neighborhoods. It's people with means left the neighborhoods. And so black and white. And the people that were left. Right. The people that were left had the least.
Right.
And so they didn't have the social capital to have somebody to help them get another job or, move up in their careers. And so all of that matters when we're talking about how we're going to rebuild our city.
That coincides with the next area that I want to touch on, which is the transportation piece. Recently, MATA cut some routes in inner city areas where it's making it more difficult for individuals that live in those communities to get to work, get around, and really be a part of the fabric of Memphis.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have Lyft and Uber and different forms of, I guess, what you would say, alternative transportation, clean transportation. Is it time, Mayor Young, for us to, as a community, to start looking at light rail? Is that a possibility? Or strengthening MATA to make it more current and real to individuals that need that transportation?
Yeah, I would love for us to be able to invest in light rail. I think that's many years away.
Okay.
What I think is more of a realistic alternative in the short term is expanded bus rapid transit lines. And so bus rapid transit is basically a bus that has a lot of technology on it, and part of the technology has these clickers where you can change the light as it's coming down the road. And so you have a more seamless ride.
You can do that?
Yeah, this is what bus rapid transit is. The bus is moving much faster than a regular bus would because you're not necessarily having to stop at all of the lights like you would otherwise. I think BRT is going to be something of the future. We already have one line that we're working on that'll go from downtown to the center of the city at the University of Memphis, and now they're working on a north-south route that'll go from Whitehaven up to Fraser. And I think that is the future. I also think that we should be exploring how we can have more nimble forms of transportation. In downtown, they have a program called Groove on Demand. In Southwest Memphis, they call it Ready, but it's these vans that rove around, and you can call them up just like Uber, and it'll pick you up, and it'll pick up 3 or 4 people at a time and take you where you're trying to go in that geography. In Klondike Smoky City, we found that the most used route was people taking it from Klondike Smoky City to the grocery store at Poplar and Cleveland. So it's a real form of transportation for people. And I think we need to be expanding that program. Instead of having these gigantic buses rolling around with 2 or 3 people on them, we have vans that are moving around much more quickly and much more directly to where people want to go.
One of the things that we want to talk about, we're going to take a quick break, but one of the things I would like to talk about is the beauty of Beale Street and what's happening downtown. And then we'll take 1 or 2 questions from the audience.
All right,
Is that cool?
Let's do it, yeah.
All right, you're at the Brian Clay Chronicles. We have Mayor Paul Young with us today, and we'll be right back right after this.
Family. security, happiness. They had it all. A good life. Then, one day, the unexpected happened. And just like that, everything changed. Things spiraled downhill quickly. Suddenly, their lives were falling apart. They were facing the unknown. I'm attorney Ursula Woods. Call us at the bankruptcy law firm before it's too late. We can help you get back on track and give you the second chance that you deserve.
Whether you're planning for a comfortable retirement, preparing for her big day, or saving for graduation day.
I know it's a lot, but what do you think?
We can help with that.
Preserver Partners, preparing for your future today.
And welcome back to the Brian Clay Chronicles. We have a nice-sized crowd here with us today, Mayor, just to see you, and we appreciate you coming. One of the things that you mentioned, which I thought was very timely, is downtown. It's been well documented that we have one of the most, I guess, biggest attractions in Beale Street.
Mm-hmm.
The Church of God in Christ has come back with the Kojic Convention.
Right.
When he gets back, John Moran is packing them in with the Memphis Grizzlies. What are we looking at? And then when it comes to downtown development?
Downtown is perfectly poised to continue to grow.
Right.
We've seen some challenges over the last couple of years with the financial markets after the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Right before the pandemic hit, we had a number of big projects that were getting ready to start, and they just didn't quite hit the mark in terms of starting on time. And then once the pandemic hit, the financial markets went in a different direction. And so we're still rebounding. And like many cities across the country, we're dealing with the transition of more people working from home, which has a tremendous impact on downtown because those office workers are the ones that support those small businesses day to day. So they're the ones going to buy a sandwich and soup at lunch. And so there are small businesses that are still working their way back. And that's something that we want to work on, is getting more employers downtown. One of the great things for us in our downtown is that we had so much residential. So the residential helped to stabilize us during the pandemic because you still had a pretty heavy nighttime population, and those people working from home were actually in downtown.
How about the South Main area? Is that still
South Main is very vibrant. There's a lot of strong businesses down there. It's one of the most organic neighborhoods that has grown up in the modern era. And you've seen South Main Arts District, which went from being, not a thing into a thing. And same thing happened on Broad. So downtown is doing well, and I think it will only grow as we look to try to keep the Grizzlies here. A lot of work going into that.
Now, we're not in fear of losing them, are we?
Well, I mean, we're in negotiations, so I mean, I think we'll get it done. But it's definitely a conversation, and I think having an anchor like an NBA franchise keeps us on the map. So it's something that we're working really hard to do.
I guess the Grizzlies, they want us to expand the FedEx Forum or make changes there?
Yeah, they definitely want to make improvements to the FedEx Forum, and we're working through all the things it's going to take to get the deal done, but I'm pretty confident we'll get there. And we don't want to just keep the Grizzlies and have the FedEx Forum. We want all of downtown to also grow. And so we're looking into what other things can we do to take the vacant buildings down there and get them activated. The big parking lots that are only active a couple of nights a year. We want to transition those into something that's going to bring more people, more vibrancy. That's what downtowns are all about. It's all about being the most active part of a city. And we still have work to do, but we have all the bones for it to be a great place.
How about Redbird Stadium?
Redbird Stadium, I know there are still some needs there in terms of getting improvements. We don't necessarily have the financial structure, but we're going to be working on that soon, once we get squared away on the Grizzly side.
Mary Young, how about if we take a question or two from the audience?
Let's do it.
All right. We have a wonderful audience here today. Will anybody like to ask a question of our mayor?
Somebody got
one.
one.
Oh, somebody's got a question. Right here.
Is there a follow-up meeting with the gang leaders that you spoke of earlier?
Yeah, so with the meeting that we had with those individuals that are gang leaders, so that caused a bit of an uproar. I mean, we had other people saying, well, I'm the gang leaders and he didn't meet with me, and I keep telling them I'll meet with anybody. Like, I was under no illusion that I was meeting with everybody in the city. And so we're gonna continue to get groups together. Some of those that have reached out saying they wanna talk, we're gonna work through the logistics and make sure that we can get those conversations set up. I mean, I feel like our whole city should be on the same mission I'm on, because I'm on a mission right now. Like, I'm on a mission to save our city, and it's gonna take everybody. And I'm not leaving anybody out of the process. And so I saw some stuff online, like he's negotiating with terrorists. It's not a negotiation, it's a conversation.
Right.
And if you can't have a conversation, something wrong with you.
Right, dig it.
It's not my fault that you can't handle a conversation.
That's a wonderful segue into a question that I received. One of the things that we must do, I think, Mayor, is have a succession plan for the future. Maybe there could be some criticisms of past administrations is that they didn't adequately pass the buck. They didn't, when the baby boom generation finally came into power, maybe they didn't reach out to Generation X the way they were supposed to. Generation X maybe hasn't reached out or embraced millennials. Millennials are having difficulty embracing Generation Y. What is your succession plan as now being mayor of the city?
Yeah, my goal is to make sure that I'm bringing people into the administration that represent the next generation of leadership. I felt like I represented that, and that was something that I talked about a lot during the campaign. And I think term limits are a good thing.
Right.
I think it gives us natural succession, so things are going to change one way or another with each leader that comes in. And I think it's important that we just continue to cultivate, that we continue to engage. And for me, I always told folks, I'm not trying to be a lifetime politician. I wanted this job. I wanted this job because I want to do this work.
What inspired you to run for mayor?
So my whole professional career, my dream job was to be in Robert Lipscomb's job.
Oh, wow.
It was to be in Robert Lipscomb's job. Well, not that job. He had a lot of them, but to be the head of housing. At HCD. Yeah, so God saw fit in 2016 for that to happen. And I became the director. And what I saw when I was in that role, and the reason I wanted his job was because I was all about rebuilding neighborhoods and communities. And after I got it, what I saw was that the pinnacle of community development is being a city mayor. To be the mayor of a city, you really get to deeply impact how a neighborhood and a community develops. And I didn't know it would happen this soon. I didn't know I was going to do it, but had a lot of conversations with my dad, who passed shortly thereafter, and He just shared some insight and guidance that just told me, like, you got to go for it. Life is short. And
how does your son feel about you being there?
oh, he loves it.
He
loves it. Yeah, I'm going to his school tomorrow to talk, and so my son loves it. My daughter is loving it. I mean, they just appreciate that their dad is mayor. I mean, they don't fully embrace all of the things.
Do they understand it yet?
They get it, but they don't see all the negative feedback and comments. I mean, my wife sees it a lot, but I'm so focused that it doesn't even bother me now.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, when we get the results that we want, we will all look back at this moment and say, this is when it happened. And not because of me, because I'm just a vessel.
Amen.
But I'm here to unite our community around a common goal of taking us to the next level.
To talk about you a little bit, you are the son of Diane Young.
Yep.
The Healing Center.
Yep.
Your father was very integral in community development. I talked to my aunt the other day, who's here somewhere, and she worked with your father in social service for years. Graduated from East High School.
Yep, I did.
From there, you went to UT,
and then grad school.
Electrical engineering.
Yeah, you got it all. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. This is Brian Clay Chronicles, baby.
You own it.
You got a master's in city and regional planning.
That's right.
And then your other master's?
An MBA in real estate and finance.
Oh, okay, in real estate and finance. Yeah. So you are Memphis through and through.
Memphis through and through.
One of the things I'll ask you before we'll take one more question from the audience. Investment into Lemoyne-Owen College. I know, is that critically placed in your plan as far as our development?
Absolutely. I mean, Lemoyne-Owen is a special place. I was on the board of trustees for a while. I got off when I became mayor. But I believe that Lemoyne-Owen College is the bright light in South Memphis, and we should build around it and allow it to be kind of the catalyst for growth in that area. And so we're going to be having some conversations with President Davis around how the city can help support its efforts and initiatives. We want to see more students come into the college, and we want to see more growth around it.
Right. We have time for one more question. I think, where we at? We at one more question over here? Okay.
Yes, I'd like to know how can, I appreciate all that you said and all, but how can the faith-based community help you? How can just the community at large support you as you move forward to meet your common goals?
Oh man, you would think I set that up.
Yeah.
I was just at Mount Pisgah the other day, and they had me as their speaker, and I told them there were three things that I wanted to see happen. One, for the faith community specifically, which I'm very, very close to, own your block. Own your block. We need our churches to open their doors for more than Sunday service and Wednesday night service. Find ways to engage the people in your immediate vicinity throughout the week. Number two, be the village. Be the village. We can all do that. Many of us are from Memphis, grew up, and we know how it was back in the day when my parents grew up in South Memphis. If they were cutting up, then Miss Howard next door gonna get you right. And that don't mean you had to put your hands on the kid, but you can give them some words. You can send them on the right path. Because all of these young folks that are out here doing this stuff,
they want to be corrected.
They want to be corrected, and they're connected to somebody. And then the last thing is speak life into our city.
Amen.
Like the way we talk about our city, it frustrates me at times because I don't think we always take into consideration that these can become self-fulfilling prophecies. That what you speak is what you become. If all we talk is down on Memphis, then guess what? We're going to be down.
We're going to be down on Memphis.
But if we can start speaking life into our city, speaking life into our young people, that's going to change the way we feel. It's going to change the psyche of the city. What I have continued to tell people is that we got to change the energy because the energy has been so off. And we got to go from hopeless to hopeful.
Say it again.
From hopeless to hopeful.
I like that.
And
we
that's
like
what,
that, Memphis.
That's where we're headed.
Let's we can give a hand on that.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Mayor Paul Young, it has been an absolute pleasure for you to, for us to have you come be with us today. First, let's give a hand for Paul Young. And one of the things that we're going to do, we're going to keep you up in prayer, brother.
Yeah, man, please keep me lifted up.
Keep you up in prayer. We've got a lot of work to do, but you see, we got a lot of support. And we're going to make this happen, man.
We are. And I want to just shout out our city council. I saw Councilwoman Pearl Walker and Councilwoman Yolanda Cooper Sutton. We got a strong city council, so the mission that I say I'm on, it's a we thing. We are on.
We're on.
We are on.
We're on.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Paul Young, Mayor Paul Young, ladies and gentlemen. And we will be back with the president of the BBA, Mr. Ernest Strickland. We'll be right back after this. Bye-bye.